Hello to all my friends out there. Here we are again. It's hot here, you guys. So, okay, I've been watching Netflix and I've been watching Mind Hunter. And what it is about is two FBI agents who started the study of serial killers, you know, these real vicious killers. If you don't like raw sex and violence, you will hate it. I don't really like it, but I find it interesting. On episode 2, I am old enough to remember this particular killer. And in the show, possibly in life, he says he had to kill his mother. He cut her head off and you know, so she would listen to him. Well, that wasn't strict, and nobody was going to catch him because he was just too smart, and so he had to put us into it. That was not really true. He was a frenzied killer. And, you know, once he killed his mother, of course, he was going to be caught. So, anyway, it's kind of a good, there's a lot of episodes, and I'm watching movies. I hope everyone is doing okay. So, okay, you guys know I have been on the bread, no yeast kick for about 2 weeks because there is no yeast. I thought it was bad enough when there was no flour. I had yeast, so I wasn't aware of the fact that there was no yeast. But when I became aware of the fact that there was no yeast, I thought this is not good, because if some famine or something comes along and you don't have bread and you don't have potatoes and you don't have, you know, food, you know, you could starve. So, I was looking around and I was going, wow, what can I do? So yesterday, you know, after hammering away on this, and that's the way it works, I finally started to come to some conclusions that would possibly work. Let me see if this thing is still going. I don't have too much memory on my phone. So yesterday I made some fried bread, and it was really, really good, and it was really, really good left over. And for the fried bread, you need, if there's no yeast, and I put the recipe on my Twitter, you need soda, baking powder. So today I went to Smart and Final, and I bought baking powder. It's not going to be a joke if we can't make bread. It's going to be really, 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 really bad. That was $9, and the baking soda was about $4. So you want to stock up on this. So this is going to make a lot of fried bread. So if you get this, then all you need is flour. The recipe is on my Twitter. But let's say you might be saying, I can't afford that. This one was $9 and this one was $4. Well, 99 cents only, but now they don't have any. And 99 cents only. I think they still had this. The reason I stockpiled the baking powder before I did this is because when I was young, I used to think I couldn't afford it. You know, I was really poor back in the day. So, as soon as you can, stockpile a few of these, and you can get these at for $1. So we're going to go into that in a minute. Now, today I went to Walmart. Almost $16 before I got these paid for. That is price gouging. But nonetheless, you know, we want to prepare, Walmart, we want to prepare for the second wave. Okay, so now back to the bread. Okay, so now this is by far my most successful bread. So what I did was I had some pizza dough crust mix in my stockpile. And I mean, I was just frantic after 2 weeks looking for this stuff, and I thought maybe, just maybe, there's enough yeast in this thing to make a starter, and there is. So these are 52 cents. Try to get these if you don't have yeast. So what I found that sent me on my way was this. Quick and easy sourdough starter recipe. Cowboy Kent Rawlings. Write this in your notebook. Go to this and memorize this. And here is his recipe. You don't want to run out of potatoes for all kinds of reasons. So then I came up with this because 4 cups is going to make tons. And what I wanted was just enough starter for a batch or 2. So I used 1/2 cup pizza crust mix. And then I added yeast to, I didn't add yeast with the pizza crust. I just used in place of the yeast and the flour, I used the crust mix. And then I put 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1/2 cup warm water. And I heated my mason jar and 1 potato, and it activates overnight. So by doing this, I could get around the fact that I didn't have any yeast by using my pizza dough, stuff. What did I do with that? And you can get those for 52 cents at Walmart. I have a lot of stuff. Anyway, you already, oh, here it is. So all I needed was 1/2 cup this in place of the flour and yeast. And then when I wanted to reactivate it, I put 1/4 cup of this and 1/4 cup water and 1/2 tablespoon of sugar to feed my yeast, and I mixed it really good, and I put it in my starter mix. And so I did that earlier today, and I want to show you something. Okay, so can you see the white part? That is like pizza dough, and the bottom part is like a liquid. So see how it's like a dough? Okay, now on the Ken Rawlings video, he said if you leave the liquid 5 days, it could be like alcohol. So if that is true, if there's that much fermentation in it, you should be able to use the liquid like beer bread. So keep that in mind. So this morning, now you need a good bread recipe, a good easy bread recipe. So here is how I did this. So if you don't have yeast, you're still going to have bread if you have flour. Okay, what I did, instead of 1 package yeast, I used my starter as the yeast. And I made half a batch, so I used the yeast, instead of the yeast, and I had 1/2 cup water, and I had a tablespoon of sugar. I made sure my water was warm. And then what I did was I stirred this around really, really good, because on the top is like a yeast, like a bread dough. And then I poured half of it into the water, and then there was like a lump of dough, so I put that in, and then that's when I added the water with the pizza dough and 1/2 tablespoon sugar to get me to this point and to get me to this point. And so then, and I put it in what I did to activate it faster, because when you're not using yeast, it activates very slowly. So I heated a big pan of water, I covered it with foil, and I slipped it into my oven to create a warm environment for my bread. And then I put my yeast and water and sugar in there, and I saw bubbles, but also on the bottom was like a pile of yeast. So then I got my flour and I just started stirring it in little by little by little by little until I got a nice soft dough. I kneaded it, and it makes a lot. So I saved this. Look at this. This is some good bread, you guys. Made out of pizza dough. Also, if you have the pizza dough mix, you could make pizza. And here's the bread. Okay, so that is that, and that is very important because God forbid if we run out of bread. Like what we're doing is we're preparing for hard times now, just in case, God forbid, you know. I've been through a few recessions. I usually weather them pretty well, but who's to say in the future? So, okay, so I stockpiled the big tubs of baking soda and powder that I got at Smart & Final. I'm sure you can get them at Costco as well. So now, I want to talk to you guys about the food storage. Okay, so if you don't have much money, you're going to be able to do this food storage anyway. So the first thing you need is flour. And so I got this flour at 99 cents, only 50% off for 50 cents. But let's just say you couldn't find a markdown. And I got this really good bread flour. I love this stuff at 99 cents only. So one was 50 cents and one was $1. 2 pounds and 2.5 pounds. This is also a whole wheat. Then I got this bag of rice, a big bag of rice for 50 cents marked down. You guys, don't be resistant to trying to locate the markdowns, but I can also find them for $1. Then I got sugar, because guess what I couldn't find one time? Sugar. And so I paid more than I wanted to, $1.30 something at Walmart. And then instead of coffee, I stockpiled tea because it's cheaper, but normally it'd be coffee. And then I packed my freezer full of bacon ends. I have bottled water. And then I got this salt marked down. So let's say all of these were $1. 1, 2, 3, $4, $5 would get you going, not counting the pork. And you can buy turkey bacon at Dollar Tree. Walmart also has it. Oh, and I bought these beans for $1. I think it was this week. I also bought bags for $2. They didn't have any $1 bags. Okay, now for the chuck wagon stockpile. So here's the beans, flour, cornmeal. I bought a big one. I think the best thing is to get corn flour rather than cornmeal, so that if you need flour, like to make bread, you can use your corn flour. Molasses. Believe it or not, I had a hard time finding it, but I finally found it in Walmart. And this is going to help you out with your beans. And you can use it instead of sugar. And then vinegar. I didn't buy the big gallons yet, but I probably will. Salt, pork. There isn't any, you guys. But I do have bacon ends. Dried apples. What I did is I just bought 2 jars of applesauce, but I prefer cans, but the bottles come in, the jars come in handy as well. And then I bought raisins at 99 cents only. So I think everything except the molasses was $1 item. Then cheese, onions, and you do not want to run out of potatoes. And I have $1 oatmeal, because you can make granola out of your oatmeal, or you can grind it and mix it with your flour. That was a great comment someone made. So let me give you a shot of this. So the thing to do is just get 1 or 2 items. You can get big ones or small ones, but just start preparing now because the future is somewhat uncertain. Okay, now, oh, also I got this milk for $1. You can buy 3 of these. I bought this at 99 cents only, but you can buy 3 of these for $3 at Walmart as well. And you can buy shelf stable milk at Dollar Tree. Okay, so now let's take a look. Oh, I almost forgot one of the most important things. This is a yummy peanut butter coffee cake. Everything in the stockpile and really easy to make. I messed my recipe up a little bit. Yummy. And so this is to go with the tea. You know, when I sit around and drink tea, what I do is I do the indoor exercising, the walking, and then I sit around. Ooh, yummy. This is yummy. It's really easy to make, you guys. Here it is. It would have turned out better if I didn't ruin my recipe. What I did was I was making half of a batch, and so there's supposed to be a crumble on top. So since I messed it up, I mixed everything together. Oh, you gotta try this. Peanut butter is tasty, you guys. Very tasty. You guys need this recipe. Everything is in the stockpile. Yummy, that's good. It's good warm, but it's going to be even better cold. For the buttermilk, I used evaporated milk, and I used a cap full of lemon juice. But you can use any kind of milk. Or if you don't have lemon juice, just, use milk. So that is tasty, very tasty. Okay, so now let's take a look at the economic landscape. Warren Buffett dumps U.S. airline stock, saying world has changed after COVID-19. Buffett, 89, indicated that he believes stock markets had not received the bottom of the current dip. Well, neither do I. And this sure the hell doesn't help. So he has dumped his stock on 4 airlines. Okay, CEO Elon Musk. Tesla stock is too high, and he dumped stock, and now he is several $billion richer 3 days ago. So our defense by air, Warren Buffett helps us out. By land, Elon Musk helps us out. Now, Elon Musk said that his stock was too high, and although he's probably made himself several $1 billion richer, he's kind of like resetting the stock, doing us all a favor. Possibly. But what we really see is these players with the money dumping stuff and gathering in their money. And so what we should be doing is basically the same thing by not spending our money. Now, we have also had Carnival Cruise down 8.5, Royal Caribbean down 9.2, Norwegian Cruise 12.5. So that's by sea. By air, by land, and by sea. Not looking good, you guys. If this was any other country, we go, this is an attack on the American way of life. And it is. It's a massive loss of jobs and revenues. Okay, there was a farmer, and he saw the water rising, and he thought he had better cross the river to get to higher ground. And just about at the time he was to get in his boat and row across, a snake came up and said, please, please, give me safe passage. And he goes, no, you're a snake, you're gonna bite me. And he goes, no, I'm just a little snake. I'm not gonna bite you, I promise. Please, please save my life. And so the farmer goes, well, the water is getting high, and yeah, you probably will drown. Okay, but promise you won't bite me? And the snake goes, I won't. Just save my life, please. They were no more in the boat. Then the snake slithered over and bit him. And the farmer said, my gosh, I just saved your life. I cannot believe you bit me. And the snake said, well, I'm a snake. Okay, so, not good. Okay, an economic contraction is a decline in national output as measured by gross domestic product. That's a contraction. A contraction is caused by a loss of confidence that slows demand. So we're all going, oh yeah, I'm going to trust you. And how this came up is I had no posts on my darn YouTube because it was like slammed with Warren Buffett. And I thought, I don't want to hear anything you got to say. You are a flippin' snake. Okay. The difference between a contraction and a recession is a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of declines in quarterly real inflation adjusted gross domestic product. So in 6 months, well, in June, it's May, in June that will be 2 quarters, so I guess you could say we are in a recession. Duh! Okay, so here's what we would look for a decline in. Real income, how about no job? Employment, industrial production, it is bad, you guys, and wholesale retail stores. They're just plain going under. Like Victoria's Secret, like a whole bunch of them. I could go on and on. The only thing that's open is Costco, Walmart, food stores. Okay, so now the Great Depression lasted from 1930s to 40s. So it didn't reset itself in a matter of months. Now they're saying here in California this is going to go on at least until the end of the year, and I wouldn't doubt it. Okay, 1933 real output, now this is the Depression, fell 30%. Well, at least 30% of our population is unemployed. So what does that kind of indicate? A recession? No, a depression. Brace yourself. Get your flour. Stock up your food. If you don't have any money, go to the food banks. Go to the churches. Go to, and you know what? If you can't qualify, readjust. Maintain that you're separated from your husband and you don't have, do whatever you have to do. I worked in this area and they were famous for that. They would be living as husband and wife, and the wife was getting welfare. I mean, I think it's a low thing to do, but starving is not good either. It also, if you're going to apply for food stamps, make sure you don't have 1 penny in the bank. Nothing. Okay. In the Depression, unemployment was 25. If people were employed, it was only part-time. Okay, a lot of people are going under the radar here for various reasons. Plummeting stock market. Well, you know what, they were probably just trying to reset the economy. Okay, another thing is a lot of people say, well, this is just like on the stock, on the horizon. It's like a landscape. It's like an economic landscape. You have your valleys, you have your hills. It's like a landscape. Okay, plummeting stock market, that would be a valley. Bank failures, that'd be a valley. Rash of defaults, those would be little valleys. Bankruptcies, that'd be bad. And business and household businesses, Okay, so what is the difference between a recession and a depression? This is a joke that's not funny. When your neighbor loses their job, it's a recession. When you lose your job, it's a depression. That's true. Okay, Kim Jong-un spotted, but they're saying that was a body double. And it doesn't really look like him either. I inspected both the pictures and I thought it is highly suspicious. Okay, no. China opened on March 26th. Okay, now I posted April 4th a video that the people in China are clearing off the shelves and are hoarding food. Now remember, they're 3 months ahead of us, always. So when they were open back up, most likely they're preparing, now they call it the second phase. Not the second wave, because the second wave seems to indicate people are going to get it. It's just a phase. Okay, so the citizens are hoarding food, and what are they hoarding? They're hoarding grains, rice, because they were banned from Vietnam, which was smart because it probably tried to introduce some disease there. Wheat and soybeans. During the Depression, we had here, it was meat and sugar. So we want to be aware of that. Okay, so this is the economic landscape of peaks and valleys. Okay, when I was taking chemistry, the periodic chart can be compared to a landscape as well. We have H2O, which is very plentiful, and then we have plutonium-21 mixed with iodine. That's what these big players remind me of. And like a lot of people are saying in the end of days, they're going to get so bad and so out of control, they're not even going to try to hide it. They're just going to pillage the population and, you know, here we go. Well, that's on you. You know, you're just some little sheeples, you know, you're not important. Well, we cannot survive without the small elements, but we can survive without them. I was watching this thing and it said, don't worry about them. They'll be removed when the time is right. And I think that's pretty much true. Hopefully nothing bad happens too, but they don't care if people starve, literally. I don't want my followers starving. I want you guys to say to yourself, do I think this is a depression? Do I think this is a recession? Do I think this is a contraction? You know, and start, you know, preparing now. We have some time. Between the Spanish flu and the Depression was 10 years. But a lot of the Bible scholars say that in the end of times, things speed way up to like half time, so it would be 5 years. So another thing I wanted to say, okay, the air has been breached. The land travel might possibly be breached, and the sea travel, which leads underground. Okay, in these underground, if there are underground tunnels, and we know they are, and they're probably shipping our stuff to China as fast as the railways can go. But if people were to get on these underground railways, anything can happen. Anything, and you know, you might never get where you're going. Another thing they might do is say, oh, this is the spacecraft. Now this makes me nervous, all this spacecraft stuff. And so what they could pull off is, oh, the spaceship crashed. Really? What happened to these people? They probably didn't go to space. They probably went right underground, and God knows what happened to them. Anything and everything can be, everyone is suspect. If they're just going to rape the people of our country's economy, they might do anything and everything. So we have to be very careful. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if I get hateful comments, that's to be expected. You know, when I did the food pantry thing, this was before all this. And I was trying to encourage people by showing them what I did, and I expected some crap. You know, but fortunately for me, I'm like a duck water off my back. And I'm pretty sure that some women benefited. Most of my followers are middle-aged women like me. So you guys, stockpile up toilet paper. I mean, that is just so gross. Okay, you guys, God bless you all.